Sea-Doo engineer. Handles like a dolphin. Dolphin in our logo. Get it?
Congratulations on your purchase of a new Sea-Doo watercraft, jet boat, or celebrity boat. You probably want to get right out on the water. Well, why not give us a few minutes first? This video will only take a little while, but is filled with enough safe boating information to last a lifetime.
Smart boat operators know riding responsibly and safely is always more fun. Smart boat operators wear appropriate Coast Guard approved flotation devices, follow boating rules of the road, and never drink and ride. If you have friends who ride or are interested in riding, show them this video and review the Operator's Guide and Safety Handbook for operating instructions. You'll be doing your part to ensure our sport remains safe and enjoyable. This video was produced using professional watercraft operators and experienced boaters and was filmed under ideal marine conditions. Respect the performance of your boat and do not attempt maneuvers that are beyond the level of your ability and understanding. Never jump waves or the wake of another vessel or attempt to spray or splash others while riding. Use common sense and courtesy. Observe your local boating laws and regulations and read and follow all the instructions in your Operator's Guide and Safety Handbook, as well as on-product warnings. Ride responsibly, respect the rights of others, and never drink and ride. Bombardier recognizes the importance of being a member of these organizations. It is by supporting their efforts that we share the industry-wide responsibility to promote the growth and safety of boating. Bombardier suggests that you and other operators of your craft take an approved boating safety course. These courses are available through the Coast Guard, Power Squadron, Coast Guard Auxiliary, and local enforcement agencies. Ride smart from the start.
You know, playing it safe on the water doesn't require much beyond simple common sense and courtesy. For example, everyone knows you shouldn't get behind the wheel of a car if you've had a drink. Well, it makes even less sense to operate a boat or watercraft under the influence.
According to the U.S. Coast Guard, it's estimated that 1/3 the amount of alcohol needed to make a person too drunk to drive on the road is enough to impair critical judgment on the water.
It can never be said enough. Don't drink and ride.
Another common sense rule is giving the right of way to other boats. Because of your Sea-Doo watercraft or jet boat's exceptional maneuverability, you are far more able to alter course than other craft. Even if you are operating a full-size celebrity boat, there's always another boat out there, and it's just common courtesy to safely get out of another craft's path. Do not operate in or near swimming areas or near low-head dams. When anchoring, bring the bow into the wind or current and put the engine in neutral. When the vessel comes to a stop, lower the anchor over the bow, don't throw it. Don't attach the anchor to the stern or rear. In a current, the stern can be pulled under by the force of the water. Never allow a person to ride in a jet boat or powerboat sunseat unless at idle speed. Do not overload your boat or watercraft, and respect the capacity limits that are posted. Read and understand all on-product warning labels. Ensure that the number and weight of your passengers do not restrict proper boating control and visibility. Another common sense rule, which some boat owners tend to ignore, is to avoid jumping waves, wakes, or riding too close to other boats. Besides the obvious risk of substantial injury or even death, it's really just plain rude.
Finally, you wouldn't hand someone the keys to your car unless you were sure they knew how to drive. Well, the same rules should be applied to boating. Your boat is your responsibility, and you're liable no matter who's operating it.
So make sure they know before they go. Knowing the controls and indicators on your boat is essential for safe and proper operation. However, the controls and indicators shown in this video may differ slightly from your boat. Please check your operator's guide and individual boat to be sure. It's always helpful to know and understand basic boating terminology. From the driver's seat, called the helm. The right side of the boat is called the starboard side. The left is called the port side. The front of the boat is the bow, and the rear is the stern. Any position behind the helm is considered aft, while any position in front of the helm is considered forward. The rear wall of the boat is called the transom, and the side wall is called the gunwale. Finally, the freeboard is the distance between the top of the bow and the waterline.
Now let's go over some general boating safety rules. These rules apply to all watercraft boats and jet boats.
Whether you're the operator or passenger, we suggest every person wear an appropriate Coast Guard-approved flotation device, commonly known as a PFD. Bombardier offers several different kinds, so you can select one that's right for you. Periodically, check the straps, buckles, and fasteners of your personal flotation device to make sure that there are no rips or tears and that the buckles are functioning properly. When it comes to PFDs and boats, the general rule of thumb is this: better safe than sorry. A PFD can save your life, but only if you're wearing it. Though not required on all types of boats, it makes sense to wear a PFD when underway. Everyone, especially children, should wear an appropriately sized PFD at all times. There are also a few safety items you are required to have on board your boat. Remember, by law, your watercraft or jet boat is considered a boat. All boats should have a sound-producing device on board, whether it's a simple marine whistle, air horn, or other device. A Coast Guard-approved fire extinguisher in proper working order must be aboard and stowed properly. This goes for all boats from 31-foot sport cruisers to watercraft. All boats must be issued a registration number. This is used to identify the boat. There are some special rules in dealing with these numbers. Generally, they must be able to be read left to right, displayed on the forward half of each side of the bow, or as far forward as practical, be in bold block letters, and be in contrasting colors to the boat hull. Of course, they should be placed above the waterline. Letters must be separated from numbers by spaces or hyphens and be at least 3 inches high. Validation decals must be displayed within 6 inches of the number. Because of the rounded shape of personal watercraft, it may be difficult to apply registration numbers so that they may be read easily. If in doubt, check with your dealer or local marine authorities. A certificate of number, much like a car's registration, also must be on board when the boat is in use. It also makes sense to always keep the following items on board: a small tool kit, local map, first aid kit, a tow rope, flares, a signaling device, paddle, emergency phone numbers, extra spark plugs, extra clothes, sunscreen, and money, an anchor, and mooring lines. All take up a little space, but can be a big help.
Now that you're geared up, you're ready to go, right? Not yet. First, there are still some general operation rules you need to know. They're called the rules of the road, or if you like, the ways of the water.
Observe and obey all posted speed limit signs, paying particular attention to no wake zones. These markers signal the operator to proceed at a minimal speed, usually no more than 5 miles per hour. Be on the lookout for navigational aids, like these. They're invaluable in helping you navigate unfamiliar waters, so it makes sense to learn and understand them. Also, never tie your boat to a buoy. Besides possibly damaging it, you're blocking its view from other boats. This marker means someone is diving in the area. Stay at least 300 feet or more away from the area. If an anchored boat is displaying this flag, the same warning holds true. And keep an eye out for air bubbles breaking the surface of the water in the event divers have strayed from the safety of their dive marker. The right-of-way rules are probably the most important rules of the road. Knowledge and practice of these rules will help you avoid collisions with other boats, which unfortunately are the most common type of boating accident. When meeting head-on or traveling in the same path of another boat, neither boat has the right-of-way. Both should steer to the right. If there's no room to pass, or for some reason you have to pass each other by steering to the left, slow down and make sure the other boater knows what you are doing. Make your move early and decisively. When crossing the path of another boat, the boat on the right has the right-of-way. The other boat steers clear, altering its course to the right and crossing behind the right-of-way boat. The yielding boat should do everything possible to avoid the crossing boat, including slowing, stopping, or reversing. If you're crossing the path of a boat on the left, you should keep on the same path at the same speed and use the right-of-way. If you're crossing the path of a boat on the right, you should keep on the same path at the same speed and use the right-of-way. If you're crossing the path of a boat on the left, you should keep on the same path at the same speed and use the right-of-way. If you're crossing the path of a boat on the left, you should keep on the same path at the same speed and use the right-of-way. If you're crossing the path of a boat on the right, you should keep on the same path at the same speed and use the right-of-way. If you're crossing the path of a boat on the left, you should keep on the same path at the same speed and use the right-of-way. If you're crossing the path of a boat on the right, you should keep on the same path at the same speed and use the right-of-way. If you're crossing the path of a boat on the left, you should keep on the same path at the same speed and use the right-of-way. If you're crossing the path of a boat on the right, you should keep on the s and should change course only when trying to avoid collision. When trying to pass another boat from behind, keep far from the boat you're trying to pass. You can pass on either side as long as you stay well clear of the slower moving vessel. In all situations, use common sense and courtesy. A more maneuverable boat should stay out of the way of less maneuverable craft. Sailboats, windsurfers, canoes, and other manually powered boats have the right-of-way over personal watercraft, jet boats, and powerboats because they're not as easy or as quick to maneuver.
Remember, just because you know these rules doesn't mean other boaters are as well versed. Defensive driving is the key to safe boating, so always give yourself time to react no matter what the situation. Before heading out, make sure you let someone know of your plans and expected return time. If possible, carry a cellular phone or marine band radio.
It's also important to check the weather and surf report. Weather can change quickly, causing all kinds of hazardous situations. So if you see weather conditions changing for the worse, be smart and head back to shore.
Speaking of heading back to shore, fuel management is one of the keys to safe and enjoyable boating. We recommend the 1/3 rule.
It's simple. Use 1/3 of your fuel on the way out, 1/3 of your fuel on the way in, and 1/3 of your fuel as a reserve. To millions of boaters, water means freedom. Abusing that freedom prevents people on shore or other boaters from enjoying the peacefulness of open waters and beaches. Boaters must respect the rights of shoreline property owners. While the water is free to everyone, boaters must have prior permission to launch or moor a boat on private property. Noise tends to carry further on the water. Respect the rights of others. Stay away from shoreline property, and whenever possible, try not to restrict your riding to just one small area. Some speeds can produce high wakes. Boaters are responsible for damage caused by their wakes to other vessels, docks, or the shoreline. So slow down and watch your speed when approaching no-wake zones, congested areas, or shoreline property. All boat owners must be conscious of the potential damage their boats can cause the environment. Pay close attention to shallow water operation. High RPM operation in very shallow water may cause damage to your craft as well as increased turbidity. Water pollution laws prohibit throwing or discharging refuse into the water. When on the water, stow trash for later disposal. Pick up after yourself on shore, and be careful not to spill when you refuel. Ow! Did someone say spill? Water skiing is a great way to enjoy the water, but like all boating procedures, requires a bit of training and know-how. Always check local and state regulations regarding the towing of skiers. Hand signals are key to safe skiing. Everyone on board should be familiar with them. Here are some generally accepted basics. Slower, faster, speed okay, stop, fallen skier, watch out, okay, back to dock. Anyone being towed, whether they're riding water skis, slalom skis, or wakeboards, must wear a Coast Guard approved PFD. A wetsuit is also recommended to prevent against hypothermia and some injuries. Whether you're using a personal watercraft, jet boat, or ski boat, it's important to have a spotter, as a driver cannot maneuver the boat and watch the skier at the same time. Some states and provinces require a spotter by law, but even if yours doesn't, we think spotters make sense. On a personal watercraft, the spotter should face the rear, using the rear grab handle for support. We don't recommend skiing behind two-person models because there needs to be room for the skier to climb on board for his ride back to shore. Now let's show you how it's done. Start slowly until the tow rope is tight. Once the skier is ready, apply enough power to raise him. Steer a course away from shore and danger spots, avoiding other boats. When the skier is up, reduce power to the level skier indicates. Use hand signals and let the skier direct the boat. When a skier falls, keep him or her in view, staying a safe distance away. Circle slowly to get the tow rope to him. Do not pull the tow rope in front of other boats, and be careful not to run over the rope yourself. When reboarding, it is important to make sure the engine is not running and to board with a maximum of care to prevent slipping.
Well, we've covered quite a bit of general boating information. Now we're going to go into specific detail on your boat to demonstrate how to safely have fun on the water. This may be one of the few times you'll see a Sea-Doo watercraft standing still. So we figured this would be a good time to go over the things that make these boats so special. It's what we call a walk-around.
Think of this as your key to ride, because without it, you're not going anywhere. It's a safety lanyard. You attach one end to your PFD or life vest, and then snap the other end on the safety lanyard switch. Pulling the safety lanyard off the switch automatically stops the engine. Sea-Doo watercraft equipped with the digitally encoded security system, or DES, can only be started using their own specially programmed lanyards. Always remove the safety lanyard when leaving the watercraft. Besides helping to prevent theft, leaving the safety lanyard on watercraft equipped with DES will eventually drain the battery. This is the engine start-stop button. I bet you can guess what it does. With your safety lanyard in place, push and hold the start button, but not for more than 5 seconds. Release as soon as the engine starts. The throttle acts like a gas pedal. When squeezed, the watercraft accelerates. If you're not applying throttle, there'll be no thrust to steer the boat. Thus, use of the throttle is key to turning. When fully released, the engine returns to idle speed, and the watercraft is gradually slowed by water drag. Remember, boats have no brakes, so prepare to stop well in advance. If your watercraft is slow in starting, you may want to use the choke. It supplies a richer fuel-air mixture when starting a cold engine. Use of the choke is not recommended with a warm engine. All Sea-Doo watercraft have removable, watertight trays perfect for carrying personal items. This area is the preferred location to store a Coast Guard-approved fire extinguisher and your watercraft registration. It's also a good place to store extra spark plugs, your toolkit, a first aid kit, and a tow rope, while still leaving you room for a few personal items. This sturdy handle provides a handhold for boarding, as well as an extra grip for passengers. Remember, never use the grab handle to tow. Use the stern eyelet for that. The seat strap has a similar function and is helpful in pulling yourself up to the riding position from the boarding platform. This large, sometimes padded surface was designed for easier boarding from the rear of the boat. These little holes are actually a pretty big deal. When the engine is running, water must flow through them. It indicates that water is flowing through the engine and circulating through the cooling system. Down here is where you'll find the bilge drain plug. When you pull your watercraft out of the water, unscrewing this plug will allow water, if any, to flow out. But always make sure this plug is in and tightened before you go into the water. The bow eyelet serves a variety of uses. It's perfect for mooring and towing, and like the stern eyelet, it's a solid point for tie-downs during transportation. Sea-Doo watercraft feature a variety of helpful gauges, from analog fuel gauges and low oil indicators to multifunction LCD gauges and tachometers on more advanced models. Some even feature a tachometer, speedometer, and info center. Located just below the engine start-stop button, this button operates the variable trim system, allowing riders to change pump nozzle position, which adjusts the ride to suit boat load and water conditions. The trim indicator shows the riding angle of your watercraft. Another feature that's only available on certain models is reverse. By forcing water back under the boat, this clamshell-like structure allows you to move in reverse, which is particularly useful in docking. But remember, this is not a brake and should not be used as such.
Now let's take a look at the engine compartment. It's located under the seat. Simply grip the seat latch and lift up. This is where the boat's mechanical, electrical, and fuel systems are located.
Besides housing the boat's mechanical, electrical, and fuel systems, this is where the oil injector reservoir cap are housed. As you may or may not know, Sea-Doo watercraft feature an oil injection system that does not require manual fuel oil mixing. However, we recommend that you use only the appropriate Bombardier Rotax injection oil available at all authorized dealers. It's a blend of specially selected base oils and additives which provide outstanding lubrication and promote engine cleanliness.
Well, that ends our walk around, although you might want to take a moment to learn how a jet drive system works.
The jet drive system works by drawing water through the intake grate just below and slightly ahead of the impeller. The impeller, which is a type of propeller driven by the engine, pressures the water and forces it rearward. Never place your hands, feet, clothing, hair, or other foreign objects where they can be drawn into this grate while the engine is running. It is very important that you do not allow foreign objects to be drawn in past the grate. Avoid riding in areas with less than 3 feet of water or where there is heavy vegetation at water level. Sea-Doo watercraft have a steerable nozzle at the rear of the boat controlled by the handlebars, which direct the stream of water from left to right. This is a key characteristic of all jet drive systems and must be kept in mind when operating a Sea-Doo watercraft. Remember, no throttle, no steering.
Now that you know a bit more about your boat, it's time to get in the water. But first, we need to cover your pre-ride checklist. This quick procedure should be done every time you plan to use your watercraft.
First, check boat for damage. Next, check the steering. Make sure the jet pump nozzle pivots easily when the handlebar is turned. Check the throttle several times for free and smooth operation. Remember, no throttle, no steering. Remove the seat and check out hose and electrical connections. Make sure everything is secure and fastened. Check the oil level. If necessary, refill with oil. Remember, only use Bombardier Rotax injection oil and never mix with other brands of oil. Replace the seat, making sure it's properly secured. Attach the safety lanyard and start and stop engine twice, first by using the engine stop button, then by disconnecting the safety lanyard. Check the storage cover and compartment. Make sure you have a fire extinguisher on board and accessible. Make sure it's properly stored, charged, and operable. Verify all safety equipment and required registration paperwork is on board and available. Secure personal belongings, making sure not to place anything too heavy in the storage tray, as that may cause cracks. Plastic Ziploc bags are a handy thing to carry to make sure your wallet stays dry, as well as keeping your sunscreen from leaking. Make sure the storage compartment is closed securely. Check your fuel level. The cap unscrews counterclockwise. Fill with regular unleaded gasoline with an octane level of 87 or higher. Place the fuel valve to the on setting. The fuel valve can also be set on reserve when needed. The off setting should only be used when the watercraft is not being operated.
Check water conditions. Also, make sure you're set up with the proper equipment. Is a wetsuit needed? Do you need booties? Is your whistle attached? Remember, better safe than sorry.
If you haven't already, remove tie-downs, double-check your bilge drain plug, and attach the safety lanyard to your PFD or life vest. Now you're ready to launch. Back your trailer so water is under the hull of the boat, then ease it into the water, start it up, and idle away. The PWIA suggests the driver be at least 16 years old. Check with local law enforcement authorities or the Coast Guard for the marine regulations in your area for applicable age and training requirements.
Remember, before you or anyone else rides, it's your responsibility to make sure they're familiar with all safety information manuals and warning labels, PFDs, the safety lanyard, start-stop button, steering, throttle, fuel shutoff, right-of-way, and basic boating rules, as well as local marine signage and regulations. Remember, ride smart from the start.
Every Sea-Doo watercraft has a built-in system designed to help prevent your watercraft from being stolen. It's called DES, Digitally Encoded Security System. This system allows for anti-start protection against unauthorized use. The safety lanyard provided with your watercraft is the only one that allows engine starting. Attach the safety lanyard to your personal flotation device and then snap the cap to the starting switch. You will hear 2 beeps to signify everything is okay and the engine can be started. One long beep when attaching the cap to the switch means a bad connection, using the wrong safety lanyard or a defective one, salt water or any other foreign object in the lanyard cap, or improper operation of MPEM or defective wiring harness. Check your operator's guide for more information or the meaning of any other signal. To start the engine when it is cold, turn the fuel valve to the on position. Firmly grip the handlebar with your left hand and place both feet on the floorboard. Fully pull the choke lever with your right hand and depress the start-stop button 5 to 10 seconds. Immediately after the engine is started, release the start-stop button and release the choke lever halfway. A few seconds after, release the choke lever and, if necessary, Slightly apply throttle to keep the engine running. On warm engines, or engines that have already been started and run for a period of time, follow the same procedure as a cold engine, except the choke does not need to be applied and the throttle lever has to be slightly depressed. It's important not to cycle the throttle when the engine isn't running because this may pump excessive fuel into the engine via the accelerator pumps. As a boat owner, it is up to you to consider the legal requirements and mental and physical capabilities of the operator, as well as what supervision you may be able to offer during operation. On-the-water training is a great way to teach basic operation. It's always easier to learn in a controlled environment. When reboarding, get on from the rear by gripping the handle or top of the seat and pulling yourself upward until your knee can reach the boarding platform. Grab the seat strap and bring your feet up to the floorboard. Attach safety lanyard, check surrounding area for traffic, press start, and you're on your way. Never use the jet pump components as a support point. If for some reason you roll your craft, it is very important that you right it in the proper direction to avoid possible engine flooding. See stern sticker for details on your specific watercraft. If your boat is designed to carry passengers, the operator should board first, with the passenger holding on to the side to steady the boat. To maintain balance while the passenger boards, the operator should move as close to the console as possible. Do not start the engine until the passenger is seated. As we mentioned before, your steering is controlled by turning the handlebars while applying the throttle. Remember, you must apply throttle to turn. But be careful not to turn hard at first, especially if you're riding with a passenger, or you might find yourself in the water. With some practice, you'll be riding like this, but take your time and above all, enjoy yourself. Something else that takes a bit of time is stopping. All boats, including Sea-Doo watercraft, have no brakes, so you need to release the throttle and slow up well before you're near the shore or dock. This is extremely important, especially when moving at speed, so be extra careful. Sea-Doo watercraft are not designed for nighttime operation. Do not use them between dusk and dawn. Taking your Sea-Doo watercraft out of the water is just as easy as putting it in. Backing a trailer is a learned skill and takes a bit of practice. Try to make small S-turns and move slowly. Back your trailer until the rear is just underwater. Ease the boat up, ensuring that it's level. Secure the bow ring and tighten. Pull the boat up the ramp a few feet and open the drain plug. Make sure the stern or rear is securely strapped to the trailer before driving any distance. There are a few quick and easy post-ride procedures that must be followed. First, rinse down the hull. Use a sponge and some gentle Sea-Doo cleaner if you'd like. Then, take off the seat and open the drain plug if you haven't already. Now, rinse the engine compartment with fresh water, taking care not to spray into the flame arrestor. Make sure the engine is cool, then attach a Sea-Doo flush kit to your hose, which has been turned off. Start engine first, then immediately turn on fresh water. Run engine at fast idle for several seconds while spraying Sea-Doo lube generously into the hole in the flame arrestor cover, keeping the engine at fast idle for about 15 seconds. After about 3 minutes, shut off water. Then shut off engine and disconnect flush kit. Spray down all metallic parts with Sea-Doo lube, paying attention to the jet pump assembly. Allow bilge to drain fully and re-secure the drain plug. Replace the seat. Make sure the fuel valve is in the off position. Check to make sure the boat is securely on the trailer, cover, and you're done. See your authorized Sea-Doo dealer or refer to your operator's guide to prepare your boat for long-term storage. This is particularly important if you expect freezing temperatures. Store your boat in a well-ventilated area. It's a good idea to remove the cover and the seat, as well as leaving the storage compartment open to allow for total air circulation. It is recommended that your craft be inspected by an authorized Sea-Doo dealer at least once a year. His professional technicians will be glad to answer any questions you may have to keep your boat running at peak performance. With any motorized product, there is scheduled maintenance which must be performed. Although your authorized Sea-Doo dealer is the best place to go for all maintenance, there are some simple procedures you may want to do yourself. If you choose to do this, always refer to your operator's guide for proper maintenance schedules and procedures. Owning a Sea-Doo watercraft gives you freedom. Freedom that comes with the knowledge that you can depend on a product built by a company like Bombardier, manufacturer of Learjet and Challenger jet aircraft, the Walt Disney monorail systems, TGV high-speed trains for North America, the Eurotunnel channel cars, Ski-Doo snowmobiles, celebrity boats, and Sea-Doo jet boats. But along with freedom comes responsibility. Responsibility to operate your boat in a safe and courteous manner. Responsibility to maintain it properly, to follow the instructions in your operator's guide, and to obey all local, state, and federal laws. Responsibility to respect the rights of others, including other boaters, fishermen, and shoreline property owners. Responsibility to ride in control and never under the influence of drugs or alcohol.
Finally, you have a responsibility to yourself, a responsibility to have the most fun on the water as possible, the kind of fun that can only happen on a Sea-Doo. Thanks for your time. We'll see you on the water.